life. I need to do breakfast, so I will be...
Pardon?
I'm going to do breakfast, so I'm going to be listening.
All right. Jai Shripadika Shri Guru Gaura Chandraju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Giraj Govardhanju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Astatara Sadashri Shivan Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Astatara Sadashri Shivan Srila Bhakti Rakak Sri Radev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Haribol, welcome to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Morning Class Dandavat. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Chita Parakamalam Shri Gurung Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitangstam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidangscha Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmanitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. Haribol. In a very fresh and clean temples all over the world, deeply cleaned yesterday. Some devotees and friends of the temple came over last night and cleaned the kitchen. Every single centimeter of the kitchen was deeply cleaned, and we're so happy. Nice, fresh temple for the service of the Lord and in remembrance of our own inner cleansing. And we will be very happily going on, and suddenly something will come into our consciousness of dissatisfaction with my present condition. And this is going to go on, and some adjustment will be made. I've been listening to Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Guru, this topic is coming up of the flow of divinity, the flow of divine will. He's not stuck in a particular pattern. The Lord is showing himself. And he can even be showing himself in one way to one person and another way to another person. And Guru Maharaj is saying, and that is also the fact with the divine serving potency. So we are trying to surrender. That is the only way to enter into Leela. And of course we know that divine Leela is something far ahead of us. But this is our practicing life. Because everything can change. We don't know the Lord's will. It can't be anything. And Guru Maharaj is emphasizing everything that we know about Krishna can be falsified. So without surrender, we are not going to be able to understand that the Lord is the infinite personality of Godhead. And he can be anything at any time. I mean, he is Krishna, and we know something about the form of his divine Leela. That's not in question. The divine, the precepts of Krishna, the precepts about Krishna, all these things are true. But we also have to come to a plane of full flexibility in his service. And this is our deep practicing life, in order to understand the nature of his manifestation. It's not stuck in a little box. like we have a picture on our mantle of something. So these are very mysterious things, but we must try to begin to understand this and not be holding back and resisting how the divine will is moving us, at least that much in our practicing life. It's a very beautiful thing. And yesterday when I was going home from the temple, going to my little place around the corner, this is one talk that I've heard I don't know how many times. It's been in one of the talks in my car for a long time, maybe a year. And I've heard it over and over again, but suddenly, something came to my ears that was very significant, and it was along these lines. And the other things that I'm listening to at home, and things that are coming up, they're in this same subject, in this same vein. And and theme. So we want to think about these things and try not to be inflexible in the service of the Lord. Sometimes I think about this as being like a dance. And Guru Maharaj refers to divine will as a dance, that we must dance in the divine will. But the leader of the dance and the female, the ladies, can relate to this more. Maybe not this generation. I don't know how this generation is dancing. But in our generation, which is 2 back, maybe 3, the man led the dance and the ladies followed. So you just have to see which way this person is going and let yourself move with that. I didn't dance very much but I know that. So we're like that. The Lord is leading the dance and we are following. We are following in His lead, His divine will, in flexibility. And it's a very wonderful thing to contemplate. Anyway, maybe that was a kind of a gross example, but it comes to my mind that way sometimes. Anyway, Jai Jagannath Swami, Jagannath Rathayatar. And we're going to begin reading the Rathayatar Festival Pastimes today. Yesterday, chapter 12 in the Madhya Lila was the Lord cleaning the Gundicha temple, and today, the chapter 13, the ecstatic dancing of the Lord at Rathayatar. So many things. I heard Srila Gurudev the other day saying, did you ever see Mahaprabhu worshipping Lord Jagannath? He's not worshipping Lord Jagannath. He's not offering mantras and ringing bells and offering different things like that. So we're trying to enter deeply into what is puja and what is bhajan. And then I heard Srila Guru Maharaj saying, just last night, that the 6 Goswamis, they were not offering puja. Their worship is bhajan. That means direct, not indirect. Of course, we are practicing puja with mantras and so many things by mantra, hoping to make our offering to Guru and to Krishna and to Mahaprabhu. But the 6 Goswamis were engaged in bhajan. That is direct service. As we were mentioning yesterday, I believe, how Sanatana Goswami's deity was in the tree. And he's just speaking to him directly. So we are hoping, Gurudev said, We are engaged. Guru Maharaj was, I think it's the same talk. Guru Maharaj is saying we are doing puja in the hope that it will become bhajan. All these things have to be understood, that we are, the form of what we're doing and the essence of what we're doing will be changing. It will be evolving. We don't want to become having this problem. Oh, what is the name of that now? All right. Niyamagraha, meaning that we want to keep everything in a certain form. Niyamagraha means too much attached to the form of a thing, or giving that up when it is still necessary for us. So these are not giving up something. We are going to a deeper understanding of the thing, a more profound offering. So we have to keep that in mind. Of course, the order of Guru and Gauranga is there, and so we have much guidance in this. It is just a thing to understand. Chapter 13 of Madhya Lila. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Ki Jaya Srila Om Vishnupad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Jagannatha Swami Ki Jai. A summary of this chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Parabhaha Bhasya as follows. After bathing the deity in the morning, after bathing early in the morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the deities Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra get aboard their 3 cars. This function is called Panduvijay. And as we know, this takes quite a long time. Everyone is outside the temple, so much kirtan, different kinds of sounds going on, awaiting the deities coming out of the temple. At that time, King Prataparudra took a broom with a golden handle and began to cleanse the road. Lord Jagannath took permission from the goddess of fortune and then started in the car for Gundicha temple. So this is the cart. This is being pulled. Very big carts, very high, and they're wonderful with the flag on the top, and the Lord is going along. The road to the temple led along a broad sandy beach, and on both sides of the road were residential quarters, houses, and gardens. Along that road, the servants called the Gaudas began to pull the cars. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu divided his Sankirtan party into 7 divisions, with 2 mridangas in each division. There were altogether 14 mridangas. That's a wondrous thing right there. While performing kirtan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited various symptoms of transcendental ecstasy, and Jagannath and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exchanged their feelings very blissfully. When the cars reached the place known as Balagandi, the devotees offered the deity some simple food. At this time, in a nearby garden, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees took a brief rest from the dancing. I'm tempted to read the whole thing in English, but we all have our books, so we can read this. If we don't have personally a copy of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita at home, then we can read it online, no problem. There, just write in the search Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila Chapter 13, and this will come up. So it's no difficulty whatsoever. So we'll go ahead with the Bengali. I think Gurudev would be happy with that. Shri Jiya Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Rathayatar Nanartaya, Jaina Sits Jagatam Chitrang, Jagannatho Pibishmita. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya, who danced in front of the car of Sri Jagannath, be all glorified. By seeing his dancing, not only was the whole universe held in wonder, but Lord Jagannath himself became very much astonished. So we're hearing about Mahaprabhu, who is his original Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because he's looking very human-like, we can understand that he is doing this and thinking this and feeling this. Whereas Lord Jagannath is the deity in his deity form, but not to the pure devotee. He's not seeing wood or stone or anything like that. He is fully engaged in many pastimes. And the pastimes of Lord Jagannath are particularly humorous and wonderful. Very wondrous. So we should not mistake the deity for being something not moving. We're not able to see that with these eyes. But certainly those who are inner eye, divine eyes, are awakened. They are seeing many pastimes with the deity. Jaya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda. All glories to Shri Krishna Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Shota Gana Shuna Karyakamana Rathayatar Nritya Prabhura Paramamohana. All glories to the listeners of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Please hear the description of the dancing of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the Rathayatar festival. His dancing is very enchanting. Please hear of it with great attention. Aradina Mahaprabhu Hanya Shavadana Ratre Utti Gana Shange Kaila Pratasnana. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal associates got up in the dark and attentively took their early morning baths. Pandu Vijay Deki Bare Karila Gamana Jagannatha Ratra Kaila Chadi Singhasana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal associates then went to see the ceremony of Pandu Vijay. During this ceremony, Lord Jagannath leaves his throne and gets up onto the cart. Apani Pratapat Rudra Lanya Patrakana Mahaprabhuragane Karaya Bijaya Darashana. King Prataparudra in person, as well as his entourage, allowed the Pandu Vijay ceremony to be seen by all the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So King Prataparudra made special arrangements, always, for Mahaprabhu and his associates. So they had a very nice place from which to view this Pandu Vijay. Advaita Nitai Adi Shange Bhaktagana Shuke Mahaprabhu Deke Ishvara Gamana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his prominent devotees, Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu and others, were very happy to observe how Lord Jagannath began the Rathayatra. Palishta Daita Gana Jaina Matahati Jagannath Vijaya Karaye Karihatahati. The very strongly built Daitas, the carriers of the Jagannath deity, were as powerful as drunken elephants. They manually carried Lord Jagannath from the throne to his car. So those who have never seen this Jagannath deity before, he is very large and very, very heavy. So these daitas are really, really strong, and they have that seva. The word daita refers to one who has received the mercy of the Lord. Sri Jagannath has a number of stalwart servants known as daitas. These servants do not come from very high caste families, of either Brahmins, Kshatriyas, or Vaishyas, but because they're engaged in the service of the Lord, they have been elevated to a respected position. Thus they are known as daitas. As we say, doya. Doya means mercy. So daita is someone who has received mercy. These servants of Lord Jagannath take care of the Lord from the day of Snanyatra up to the time the Lord is carried from the throne to the Rath car. In the Chaitra Mahatmya, these daitas are said to come from the Shabaras, a caste that keeps and sells pigs. And we know that the Lord Jagannath lived with the Shabaras for a very, 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 very long time. He liked them very much, completely uncivilized, really jungle people. No rules or regulations, just very loose, but they had so much love for Lord Jagannath. So these are all things to think about. Lord Jagannath is so fond of this kind of thing. And his pastimes are like this, very, very astonishing pastimes. I'm very tempted to tell a couple of them, but we should continue on. I'm going to have to read this. Okay. The servants of Lord Jagannath take care of the Lord from the day of Snanyatra, these servants, up to the time the Lord is carried from the throne to the Rath cart. In the Chaitra Mahatmya, these daitas are said to come from the Shabara, a caste that keeps and sells pigs. However, among the daitas, there are so many who come from the Brahmin caste. Those daitas coming from the Brahmin families are called daitapatis, or the leaders of the daitas. The daitapatis offer food such as sweetmeats to Lord Jagannath during the Anavasara, the resting period after Snanyatra. They also make the early morning offering of sweetmeats daily. It is said that during the Anavasara, Lord Jagannath suffers from fever, and that the Daitapatis offer him an infusion of drugs represented by fruit juice. It is said that in the beginning, Lord Jagannath was worshipped by the Sabras, and this was known as the deity, and he was known as the deity Nila Madhava. Later, when the deity was established in the temple, the Lord became known as Jagannath. Because the deities were taken from the Shabras, all the Shabra devotees were elevated to the position of the Daitas. Very wonderful pastimes. Kataka Daita Kare Skanda Alambana, Kutaka Daita Dare Sri Padma Charana. While carrying the deity of Lord Jagannath, some of the daitas took hold of the shoulder of the Lord, and some caught his lotus feet. Katitate Baddha Dridha Stulapata Dori Duiti Ke Daita Gana Utaya Tahadhari. The Lord Jagannath deity was bound at the waist by a strong, thick rope made of silk. From two sides, the daitas caught hold of this rope and raised the deity. Uchadrita Tuli Shabapati Stane Stane Akatuli haite tvaraya aratuli teane. Strong puffed up cotton pads called tulis were spread out from the throne in the temple to the car, and the heavy deity of Lord Jagannath is carried from one pillow-like pad to the next by the daitas. So lifted and then put down, and lifted and then put down. We can see this. It's actually broadcast now.
It's happening right now.
Yeah. Prabhupada gate tulihaya kanda kanda tula shaba udiyaya shabdahaya prachanda. While the daitas carried the heavy Jagannath deity from one pad to the next, some of the pads broke and the cotton contents floated into the air. When they broke, they made a heavy cracking sound. Vishwambara Jagannathe ke chalaite pare apana uchaya chale karite vihare. Lord Jagannath is the maintainer of the whole universe. Who can carry him from one place to another? The Lord moves by his personal will just to perform his pastimes. Mahaprabhu manima kare dvani nanavajya kolahale kichuna shuni. While the Lord was transported from the throne to the car, tumultuous sounds were made on various musical instruments. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting Manima, Manima, but he could not be heard. The word Manima is used to address a respectable person in Orissa. Lord Jagannath was being respectfully addressed by Sri Chaitanya in this way. It's like saying, sir, sir. Very sweet. Trabe pata parudra kare apane sevana suvarna marjan lanya kare pata samarjana. While the Lord was being carried from the throne to the car, King Prataparudra personally engaged in the Lord's service by cleansing the road with a broom that had a golden handle. So the king came out and he's cleaning the road himself with a broom. Chandana jalete kare pata nishe chane tucha seva kare vasi raja singhasane. The king sprinkled the road with sandalwood-scented water. Although he was the owner of the royal throne, he engaged in menial service for the sake of Lord Jagannath. Uttama hanya raja kare tucha sevana ateva jagannathera kripara bhajana. Although the king was the most exalted, respectable person, still he accepted menial service for the Lord. He therefore became a suitable candidate for receiving the Lord's mercy. So, there are many different kinds of service, but no one should feel that they are above the menial service. Guru Maharaj said, do not think that the upper plane will consider your humility as your lack of qualification. Quite the opposite. This was very endearing to Mahaprabhu and Lord Jagannath, that the king came out and swept the road. Mahaprabhu Shukapaila se seva dekite, Mahaprabhura kripa haila se seva haite. Upon seeing the king engaged in such menial service, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy. Simply by rendering this service, the king received the mercy of the Lord. Rathayatar sajani deki loke chamatkar, navahe mamaya rata shumeru akar. Everyone was astonished to see the decorations on the Rath cart. The cart appeared to be newly made of gold, and it was as high as Mount Sumeru. So those who can see a wonder. This is not material vision. It's not like some mystical vision or some hypnotic thing. Those who can see will really see how wondrous this cart is. Sumeru is a mountain of gold, and it actually goes throughout the center of the entire universe. This is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is not conceivable. The height of Mount Sumeru. This is not easily conceived of. Srila Prabhupada wants to tell us in the year 1973, there was a gorgeous Rathayatar festival in London, England, and the car was brought to Trafalgar Square. The London daily newspaper, The Guardian, published a front page photo saying ISKCON Rathayatar is a rival to the Nelson Column in Trafalgar Square, which is a very famous and honored thing in Trafalgar Square. I can't remember, I'm not thinking of the right word, but anyway, it's there and it's famous. It's a tribute to that General Nelson. But anyhow, Shata Shata Suchamara Darpane Jwala Upare Pataka Shobe Chandoya Nirmala. The decorations include bright mirrors and hundreds of chamaras. These are white whisks made of yak tails. On top of the car was a neat and clean canopy and a very beautiful flag. Gagara kinkini baje gandhara kvanita nana chitra patavastre rata vibhushita. The car was also decorated with a silken cloth and various pictures. Many brass bells, gongs, and ankle bells rang. It's really tumultuous. I mean, even from the point of view of what we can hear, the whole ceremony of that Pandu Vijay when the Lord comes out of the temple, it's really a lot going on. People are dancing, the Devadasis are dancing, and then there's the gung, 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 and there's so many things happening all around. It's a very wonderful thing. Lilaya Chandila Ishwara Ratera Para Aradui Rate Chari Shubhadra Haladara. For the pastimes of the Rathayatar ceremony, Lord Jagannath got aboard one car, his sister Subhadra and elder brother Balaram got aboard 2 other cars. Panchadasha Dina Ishwara Mahalakshmi Lanya Tarashange Krida Kaila Nibrite Vaishya. For 15 days the Lord had remained in a secluded place with the Supreme Goddess of Fortune and had performed his pastimes with her. So this 15-day period of Anavashara is called Nibruti in honor of this solitary place where the Supreme Goddess of Fortune lives. After living there a fortnight, Lord Jagannath took permission from the Goddess of Fortune to leave. And he's leaving for Nilacha. From his temple in Nilacha, he's going to Gundicha. And Gundicha is Vrindavan. Tahara samati lanya bhakti shukadite rati chada bahira haila bihara karite. Having taken permission from the Goddess of Fortune, the Lord came out to ride on the Rath cart and perform his pastimes for the pleasure of the devotees. In this connection, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that as an ideal husband, Lord Jagannath remained 15 days in a secluded place with his wife, the supreme goddess of fortune. Nonetheless, the Lord wanted to come out of seclusion to give happiness to his devotees. The Lord enjoys himself in two ways, known as Svakya and Parakiya. The Lord's conjugal love in the Svakya rasa relates to the regulated principles observed in Dwarka, where there is religious marriage. I mean, of course, the Lord is far above religion, but this is what is the mood of Dwarka. He is exhibiting these pastimes with the goddesses of fortune. In Dwarka, there is wife, Svakya, with one wife. But in Vrindavan, the conjugal love of the Lord is not with his married wives, but with his girlfriends, the gopis. Conjugal love with the gopis is called Parakiya rasa. Lord Jagannath leaves the secluded place where he enjoys the company of the goddess of fortune in Svakya rasa, and he goes to Vrindavan, where he enjoys the Parakiya rasa. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur therefore reminds us that the Lord's pleasure in Parakiya rasa is superior to his happiness or pleasure in Svakya rasa. So Parakiya is forbidden by the laws of religion. So if we want to imitate, we don't want to do that. That is forbidden in the mundane. But in relation to the Lord, in inconceivably deep devotion, Parakiya is fully glorious. It is the surpassing of all restriction in the service of the Lord. But that kind of heart and that kind of service must be very genuine and high. This is Shukshma Sveta Balupate Pulinera Sama Duidi Ke Tota Shabajena Vrindavana. The fine white sand spread all over the path resembled the bank of the Jamuna, and the small gardens on both sides looked just like those of Vrindavan. This is the inner significance of Rathayatar. The Lord is again re-entering Vrindavan. And of course we hear from the pastimes of Kurukshetra that in a very divinely victorious mood, Srimati Radharani is being assured by Krishna that he never leaves Vrindavan, that he can never leave Vrindavan, that he is always there in his subtle most form in the remembrance of the Braja Gopis. She is returning to Vrindavan after the Kurukshetra meeting, knowing that she's carrying the Lord home within her heart, that he is hers and she is his, and he's given her this reassurance. So these are very deep pastimes. Ratechari Jagannatha Karilagamana Duri Parshve Deki Chale Anandita Mana. As Lord Jagannath rode in his cart and saw the beauty on both sides, his mind was filled with pleasure. Goda Shabarata Tane Karya Ananda Kshane Shigra Chale Rata Kshane Chale Manda. The pullers of the cart were known as the Godas, and they pulled with great pleasure. However, the car sometimes went very fast and sometimes very slow. And even now, sometimes people are running. The pullers of the ropes are running with a slack rope and the car is moving. So they're pulling. This is divine service. But the rod cart is actually moving by the will of the Lord. And sometimes it stops, and no one can ascertain the reason for it stopping, and it will not go, and no one can make it go. Shani stira hanyarahe tanule nachale Ishvara ichaya chale nachale karobale. Sometimes the car would stand still and not move, even though it was pulled very vigorously. The chariot therefore moved by the will of the Lord and not by the strength of any ordinary person. But that doesn't mean that they're not trying. Tabe Mahaprabhu Shabalanya Bhaktagana Swahaste Parayila Shabe Malya Chandana. As the car stood still, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gathered all his devotees and with his own hand decorated them with flower garlands and sandalwood pulp. Paramananda Puriyar Bharati Brahmananda Srihaste Chandana Panya Badila Ananda. Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati were both personally given garlands and sandalwood pulp from the very hands of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This increased their transcendental pleasure. Advaita Acharya Ar Prabhu Nityananda Srihasta Sparshe Dunhara Haila Ananda. Similarly, when Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu felt the touch of the transcendental hand of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were very pleased. Kirtaniya Ganedila Malaya Chandana Swarupa Srivasa Jaha Mukhya Duijana. The Lord also gave garlands and sandalwood pulp to the performers of Sankirtan. The two chief performers were Swarup Damodar and Srivas Thakur. So nowadays when we hear the word perform, it means you're doing something in front of a group and they're watching. This is a different use of this word. It just means doing. They're doing, performing Sankirtan Yagya. But their kirtan is transcendental, completely. Chari Sampradaye Haila Chabisha Gayana Dui Mardangi Kahaila Astajana. There were altogether 4 parties of kirtan performers, comprising 24 chanters. In each party, there were also 2 mridanga players, making an additional 8 persons. Tabe Mahaprabhu Mane Vichara Kariya Chari Sampradaya Dila Gayana Bantiya. When the 4 parties were formed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after some consideration, divided the chanters. So we have the 4 parties comprising 24 chanters, and in each party there were also 2 mridanga players, making an additional 8 persons. Nityananda Advaita Haridasa Vakreshware Chari Jane Agyadila Nritya Karibare. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur and Vakreshwar Pandit to dance in each of the 4 respective parties, respectively, each one in each. Pratama Sampradaye Kaila Swarupa Pradana Arapancha Jana Dila Tara Paligana. Swarup Damodar was chosen as the leader of the first party and was given 5 assistants to respond to his chanting. Damodara Narayana Datta Govinda Raghava Pandita Ar Shri Govindananda. The 5 who responded to the singing of Swarup Damodar were Damodar Pandit, Narayan Govindadatta, Raghava Pandit, and Sri Govindananda. Oh. Advaitere Nrichakari Bare Agyadila Srivasa Pradhana Ar Sampradaya Kaila. Advaita Charya Prabhu was ordered to dance in the first group. The Lord then formed another group with Srivas Thakur as the chief man. Gangadasa Haridasa Sriman Shubhananda Sri Rama Pandit Tahanache Nityananda. These 5 singers who responded to the singing of Srivas Thakur were Gangadas, Haridas, Sriman, Shubhananda, and Sri Rama Pandit. Sri Nityananda Prabhu was appointed as a dancer. Vasudeva Gopinath Murari Jahagai Mukunda Pradhana Kaila Ara Sampradaya. Another group was formed consisting of Vasudeva, Gopinath, and Murari. All these were responsive singers, and Mukunda was the chief singer. Shrikanta Balabhasena Araduijan. Excuse me. Another 2 persons, Shrikanta and Balabhasen, joined as responsive singers. In this group, the senior Haridas Thakur was the dancer. So these are all like glorious details. In the 3rd group, Mukunda was appointed the chief singer. This party was composed of Vasudeva, Gopinath, Murari, Shrikanta, and Balabhasen. The senior Haridas Thakur, was the dancer. Govinda Gosha Pradhana Kaila Ara Sampradaya Haridasa Vishnudasa Raghava Jahangaya. The Lord formed another group, appointing Govinda Ghosh as the leader. In this group, the younger Haridas, Vishnudas, and Raghava were the responding singers. Madhava Vasudeva Gosha Dui Sahodara Nrityakarena Taha Pandita Vakreshwara. The 2 brothers named Madhava Ghosh and Vasudeva Ghosh also joined this group as responsive singers. Vakreshwar Pandit was the dancer, very famous dancer, Vakreshwar Pandit. He wanted how many? 100 Gandharvas to sing so he could dance. His dancing was very divine, transcendental wonder. Kulina Gramera Eka Kirtaniya Samaj Tahanuchakarena Ramananda Satyaraj. There was a Sankirtan party from the village known as Kulinagram, and Ramananda and Satyaraj were appointed the dancers in this group. Shantipurera Acharjera Eka Sampradaya Achutananda Nache Tata Ara Shabhagai. There was another party that came from Shantipur and was formed by Advaita Acharya. Achutananda was the dancer, was the son of Advaita, and the rest of the men were singers. Kandera Sampradaya Kare Antyatra Kirtana Narahari Nachitaha Sri Raghunandana. Another party was formed by the people of Kanda. These people were singing in a different place. In that group, Narahari Prabhu and Raghunandan were dancing. Jagannatera age chari sampradaya gai, dui pache eka sampradaya. 4 parties chanted and danced in front of Lord Jagannath, and on either side was another party, and yet another was at the rear. Shata Sampradaye Bhaje Choda Madala Jaradvani Shuni Vaishnava Haila Pagala. There were altogether 7 parties of Sankirtan, and in each party 2 men were beating drums. Thus 14 drums were being played at once. The sound was tumultuous, and all the devotees became mad. Vaishnavera Mega Gataya Haila Badala Kirtanande Shababarshe Netra Jala. Kirtan Ananda Shababarshe Netra Jala. All the Vaishnavas came together like an assembly of clouds. As the devotees chanted the holy names in great ecstasy, tears fell from their eyes like rain. Tribhuvana Bhare Utte Kirtane Radvani Anya Vadya Radvani Kichuina Shuni. When the Sankirtan resounded, it filled the 3 worlds. Indeed, no one could hear any sounds or musical instruments other than the Sankirtan. It filled the 3 worlds. That means the entire universe. No one could hear anything but that Sankirtan of those inconceivable personalities and Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, Shatatanya Buli Prabhu Hari Hari Bali Jaya Jagannatha Balena Hasta Jugatuli. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered through all 7 groups chanting the holy name. Hari Hari, raising his arms, he shouted, all glories to Lord Jagannath. Ada Eka Shakti Prabhu Karila Prakasha Eka Kale Shatatanya Karila Bilasa. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then exhibited another mystic power, performing pastimes simultaneously in all 7 groups. So this is not an ordinary mundane mystic power, of course. Mahaprabhu is the Lord, and he is Yogeshwar, and he is the origin of all such things. Shabe kahe Prabhu ache namora sampradaya anyatanya nahina yana amare dayaya. Everyone said, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is present in my group. Indeed, he does not go anywhere else. He is bestowing his mercy upon us. How is this? They're so astonished. Mahaprabhu is staying with us the whole time. But he is in all of the groups at once. Keha lakite nare prabhura chincha shakti antaranga bhakta jane jara shuddha bhakti. Actually, no one can see the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Only the most confidential devotees, those in pure, unalloyed devotional service, could understand that this was going on. How the Lord was there with all the groups. This was not some exhibition of mystic powers. This was perceivable only by those who were very profoundly immersed in unalloyed devotion. Kirtana de kiya Jagannatha harashita, Kirtana de ke Ratha kariya stagita. Lord Jagannath was very much pleased by the Sankirtan, and he brought his car to a standstill just to see the performance. Pratapa rudrera haila parama bishmai, dekita vivasa raja haila premamai. King Prataparudra was also astonished to see the Sankirtan. He became inactive and was converted to ecstatic love of Krishna. Kashi Mishra kahe Raja Prabhu Ramahima, Kashi Mishra kahe Tomara Bhagyera Nahi Sima. When the king informed Kashi Mishra of the glories of the Lord, Kashi Mishra replied, O king, your fortune has no limit. Sarvabhauma Shange Rajakare Taratari Arakeha Nahi Jani Chaitanyera Churi. The king and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya were both aware of the Lord's activities, but no one else could see the tricks of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Churi means tricks. But they could see. Jare tara kripa se jani bare bare kripa bina brahmadika jani bare nare. Only a person who has received the mercy of the Lord can understand. Without the Lord's mercy, even the demigods headed by Lord Brahma cannot understand. There's no mundane qualification for understanding these things. None whatsoever. So we will keep this in mind and always try to be humble and do our duty in the mood of surrender. Raja Ratucha Seva Deki Prabhu Ratushtamana Sehita Prasade Paila Rahasya Darshana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had been very satisfied to see the king accept the menial task of sweeping the street. And for this humility, the king received the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He could therefore observe the mystery of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities. So this is a very different direction of things. We're going in the negative direction, negative in the plane of humility. And that was where King Prataparudra became so exalted. Shakshate nadeya deka parokshe nadaya ke bujite pare chaitanya chandra re ramaya. Although the king had been refused an interview, meaning he was not allowed to meet with the Lord, he was indirectly bestowed causeless mercy. Who can understand the internal potency of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Sarvabhauma Kashi Mishra Dui Mahashai Rajera Prasada Dekina Ila Bhishmai. When the two great personalities, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Kashi Mishra, saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's causeless mercy upon the king, they were astonished, and they could see it. They could see that King Prataparudra had this divine mercy to observe all of these playful pastimes of Mahaprabhu. Others could not even see that was going on, but they could see that he could see. Madhya Lila Prabhu Kaila Katakshana Apane Gayena Nachana Nija Bhaktagana. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his pastimes for some time in this way. He personally sang and induced his personal associates to dance. Kabu Aka Murti Kabu Hanya Bahu Murti Karya Anurupa Prabhu Prakashaye Shakti. According to his need, the Lord sometimes exhibited one form and sometimes many. This was being executed by his internal potencies. Lila Veshe Prabhura Nahi Nijanu Shandana Ichajani Lila Shakti Kare Samadhana. Indeed, the personality of Godhead forgot himself in the course of his own transcendental pastimes, but his internal potency, Lila Shakti, knowing the intentions of the Lord, made all arrangements. So the Lord was not even aware. He was not making any arrangements, but his divine will was known by his Yogamaya potency, and this was going on. She's making all arrangements. Srila Prabhupada makes a very interesting point in the purport. He's saying the Maya energy, the material energy, is one of the Shaktis of the Lord. But the materialistic scientists are always trying to figure her out by analyzing things that they can never know that she is a Shakti. And she's boasting, Guru Maharaj says, she's boasting that I have my origin in Radha. I have my origin in Radha, the Supreme Shakti from whom others come. Purve jaiche rasa de lila kaila brindavane, alokika lila gora kaila kshane kshane. Just as Lord Sri Krishna formerly performed the Rasa Lila dance and other pastimes in Vrindavan, so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed uncommon pastimes moment after moment, kshane kshane. This is a very important thing for us to remember when we're hearing the pastimes of the Lord. For our lives, our little dull, little lives in this mundane plane, some little thing happens here and another little thing happens here. Mahaprabhu's pastimes, just like Krishna's pastime, every moment is extraordinary and wondrous. There's no dull moments. Well, I'm going to go over here and then I'm going to do something amazing. No, everything's amazing. There's can't be anything but amazing in the Lord's movements at all times and in all reciprocations with all of the environment. It is all wondrous. Hare Krishna. Bhaktagana anubhave nahi jane ana, Shri Bhagavata Shastra tahate pramana. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dancing before the Rathayatar could be perceived only by pure devotees. Others could not understand. Description of Lord Krishna's uncommon dancing can be found in the revealed scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam. So just Lord Sri Krishna expanded himself into many forms while engaged in the Rasa Lila. And he expanded himself in Dwarka, his 16,000 wives. He's with all of them at the same time. And Mahaprabhu is also dancing in this inconceivable pastime. These are all pastimes with Lord Jagannath and the devotees. And he's expanding himself in this same way. I'm going to continue to read because I think, what time do you think the offering will be, Prabhu?
Right now.
Oh, okay, no problem. But I was just going to keep reading, huh?
Okay, I'm going to work on it because I'm still slow with the offering and everything.
I don't mind at all. I'm just wondering. I'm just going to keep reading. There's no possibility of finishing this chapter this morning, but we'll go on as long as we can. This is a very, very long chapter. So let me just see. It goes until page 226. We're on page 150 now. But we'll just keep reading, of course, through the course of this day. And it is through the mercy of Mahaprabhu that we will have entrance into this Rathayatar pastime, or any conception of it, any proper conception. It is all coming from Mahaprabhu. So we want to read this continuously through this divine day. Hey Mata Mahaprabhu Karin Charange Vashaila Shabaloka Premera Tarange. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced in great jubilation and inundated all the people with waves of ecstatic love. E Mathaila Krishnera Rathayarohana Tara Age Prabhu Nachaila Bhaktagana. Thus Lord Jagannath mounted his car, and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inspired all his devotees to dance in front of it. Age Shuna Jagannatera Gundi Chagamana Tara Age Prabhu Jaiche Karila Nartana. Now please hear about Lord Jagannath going to the Gundicha temple while Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced before the Rath cart. E Mata Kirtana Prabhu Karila Katakshana Apana Udyoge Nachaila Bhaktagana. The Lord performed kirtan for some time, and although through his own endeavor, inspired all the devotees to dance. Apani nachite jabbe Prabhu Ramana Haila Shata Sampradaya Tabe Ekatra Karila. When the Lord himself wanted to dance, all 7 groups combined together. Shrivas Ramai Raghu Govinda Mukunda Haridasa Govinda Nanda Madhava Govinda. The Lord's devotees, including Shrivas, Ramai, Raghu, Govinda, Mukunda, Haridas, Govindananda, Madhava, and Govinda, all combined together. Brajamohini Didi, are you there? Do you mind looking at the screen to see if there's any question or anything? Probably not, but sometimes. No, nothing, no comment or question. Sorry, I didn't hear you. No, thank you. Udanda Nritya Prabhu Jabe Haila Mana Swarupera Shange Dila E Navajana. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu desired to jump high while dancing, he placed these 9 people in charge of Swarup, in the charge of Swarup Damodar. Yeah. He's jumping so high, and Swarup Damodar has become the leader of this group. E dasa jana prabhura shange gaya daya arashabha sampradaya charidike gaya. These devotees, Swarup Damodar and the devotees in his charge, sang along with the Lord, and they also ran beside him. All the other groups of men also sang. Dandavat karari prabhu judi duihata urdhva mukhe stutikare deki jagannatha. Offering obeisances to the Lord with folded hands, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu raised his face towards Jagannath and prayed as follows. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahman Hitaya Cha Jagatitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Krishna, who is the worshipable deity for all Brahminical men, who is the well-wisher of cows and Brahmins, and who is always befitting the whole world, benefiting the whole world. I offer my repeated obeisances to the personality of Godhead, known as Krishna and Govinda. And this is a quotation from the Vishnu Purana. Jayati Jayati Devo Devaki Nandano Sao Jayati Jayati Krishna Vrishni Vangsha Pradipa Jayati Jayati Mega Shyamala Komalanga Go Jayati Jayati Prithvi Bharanasho Mukunda. All glories to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as the son of Devaki. All glories to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as the light of the dynasty of Vrishni. All glories to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose bodily luster is that of a new cloud, and whose body is soft as a lotus flower. All glories to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared on this planet to deliver the world from the burden of demons, and who can offer liberation to everyone. This is a verse from the Mukunda Mala. And the next verse, text 79, Jayati Janani Vaso Devaki Janmavado Chadubar Parishad Swayadorbir Asanya Dharman Sthirachara Bhujanagna Shushmita Shri Mukena Brajapur Vandita Avanitanam Vardayam Kamadevam. I used to say this song as soon as I woke up in the morning. For many years I did that, but then I stopped. And I don't know why I stopped, but I think I should start again. Somehow or other. Lord Sri Krishna, he was known as Jananivas, the ultimate resort of all living entities, and who is also known as Devaki Nandan or Jashoda Nandan, the son of Devaki and Yashoda. He is the guide of the Yadu dynasty, and with his mighty arms he kills everything inauspicious, as well as every man who is impious. So, by his presence he destroys all things inauspicious for all living entities, moving and inert. We must take his presence into our hearts and in a mood of surrender, because he will remove everything inauspicious. This is his very nature. His blissful smiling face always increases the lusty desires of the gopis of Vrindavan. May he be all glorious and happy. This is a quotation from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Natam vipro nacha narapatir napi vaisho nashudro naham varni nacha grihapatir no vanasto jatirva kinto prodyan nikila paramananda purnamritadder gopi bhartu pada kamalayo das dasanudasaha. I am not a Brahmin, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Vaishya or a Shudra, nor am I a Brahmachari, a householder, a Vanaprastha, or a sannyasi. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar, and he is the cause of universal, transcendental bliss. He is always existing with brilliance. This is verse 74 from the Pajavali, an anthology of verses compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami. Now these are all things which are being recited by Mahaprabhu in front of Lord Jagannath. Etapadi punarapi karila pranam jodahate bhaktagana vande bhagavan. Having recited all these verses from scripture, the Lord again offered his obeisances, and all the devotees with folded hands also offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Uttanda Nitya Prabhu Karya Hunkara Chakra Brahmi Brahme Jaiche Alata Akara. Alata Akar means a brand, like If somebody has a stick that's on fire, that's called a brand, and if he twirls it around and around, it makes a chakra, it makes a circle. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced and jumped high, roaring like thunder, and moving in a circle like a wheel, he appeared like a circling firebrand. Nriche Prabhura Jaha Jaha Pade Padatala Shashakara Shaila Mahikare Talamala. Wherever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stepped while dancing, the whole earth with its hills and seas appeared to tilt. Stambasveda Pulaka Ashukampa Vaivaranya Stambasveda Pulaka Ashukampa Vaivarnya Nanyabhave Vivashata Garva Harshadanya. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced, he displayed various blissful transcendental changes in his body. Sometimes he appeared as though he were stunned. Sometimes the hairs on his body stood on end. Sometimes he perspired, he cried, trembled, and changed color. And sometimes he exhibited symptoms of helplessness, pride, exuberance, and humility. All these different exhibitions of different relationships, different rasas, different feelings, different, there's the 5 basic rasas, but different exchanges. Achara kanya pade bhume gadi jai, Suvarna Parvata Jaiche Bhumete Lotai. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell down with a crash while dancing, he would roll on the ground. And sometimes it appeared that a golden mountain was rolling on the ground. Nityananda Prabhu Dui Hata Pashariya Prabhure Darite Chahe Asha Pashadanya. Nityananda Prabhu would stretch out his 2 hands and try to catch the Lord when he was running here and there. And Nityananda Prabhu was trying to catch the Lord because sometimes he would really crash to the ground. Prabhupache Bhule Acharya Kariya Hunkara Haribola Bale Bara Bara. Advaita Acharya would walk behind the Lord and loudly chant Haribol again and again. So Nityananda Prabhu is there trying to catch the Lord. Advaita Prabhu is behind the Lord chanting. Loka nivarite hailatina mandala pratama mandale Nityananda Mahabala. Just to check the crowds from coming too near to the Lord, the devotees formed 3 circles. The first circle was guided by Nityananda Prabhu, who is Balaram himself, the possessor of great strength. So that was the inner circle. And actually, as many will remember, in Navadvip, during the time of Gurudev, Srila Gurudev, on Gaur Purnima evening, he would come across the road to the guest house across the road next to Sadashiva's temple at Govindakund, and he would sit there in front on the veranda and watch the fireworks. But there were so many people from around Navadvip and the surrounding areas that would come to the Mat on Gaur Purnima. And so the devotees formed a circle around Gurudev to bring him across the street. It was quite wonderful. Kashishwara Govindari Jatta Bhaktagana Hata Hatikari Kaila Tvitiya Varana. All the devotees headed by Kashishwara and Govinda linked hands and formed a second circle around the Lord. Bahire Prataparutralanya Patragana Mandala Hanya Kare Loka Vivarana. Maharaj Prataparudra and his personal assistants formed a third circle around the two inner circles just to check the crowds from coming too near. Hari Chandanera Skande Hasta Alambiya Prabhura Nritya Deke Raja Avista Lahanya. With his hands on the shoulders of Hari Chandan, King Prataparudra could see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing, and the king felt great ecstasy. Hanakale Shrivasa Prema Vishtamana Rajara Age Rahideki Prabhura Nartana. While the king beheld the dancing, Srivas Thakur standing in front of him became ecstatic as he saw the dancing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the outermost circle consisted of King Prataparudra and his personal assistants. And he is dancing, has his hand on the shoulder of Harishchandra, and in front of him is Srivas Thakur in the second circle. Rajara Age Harichandan Deki Srivasa Haste Tara Sparshika He Hu Akapasha Hu. Don't remember that word. Harichandan. Rajara Age Harichandan Deki Srivasa Hastita. Okay. Seeing Srivas Thakur standing before the king, Harichandan touched Srivas with his hand and requested him to step aside. So Harichandan is one of the assistants of the king, and this is natural for him that if anyone were standing or blocking the sight of the king, anyone would step aside, an ordinary citizen, and Harichandan would gently say, move aside, the king is trying to see something, and then they would move. This is his normal duty. Srivasa kichuina jane, bara bara tele teho kroda haila mane. Absorbed in watching Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srivas Thakur could not understand why he was being touched and pushed. After he was pushed again and again, he became angry. Chapada Maria Tare Kaila Nivarana Chapada Kanya Kruda Haila Hari Chandana. Srivas Thakur slapped Harichandra to stop him from pushing him. In turn, this made Harichandan angry. He turned around and slapped him. Kudahanya Tare Kichu Chahe Balibare Apani Prataparudra Nivari Latare. As the angered Harichandan was about to speak to Srivas Thakur, Prataparudra Maharaj personally stopped him. Bhagavan tumi harahasta sparsha paila amara bhagye nahi tumi kutarta haila. The king Prataparudra said, you are very fortunate, for you have been graced by the touch of Srivas Thakur. I am not so fortunate. You should feel obliged to him. Prabhura nritya deki loke haila chamatkara anya achuk jagannather ananda apara. Everybody was astonished by the dancing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And even Lord Jagannath became extremely happy to see him. Jai Mahaprabhu Jai. Jai Giraju. Ratastira Kaila Ageda Kare Kamana Animisha Netre Kare Chadarashana. The car came to a complete standstill and remained immobile while Lord Jagannath, with unblinking eyes, watched the dancing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's an incident where the cart has stopped. And there's no starting it up. Nothing, not even elephants, could move the car when it stopped. And so Lord Jagannath is engaged in watching the beautiful dancing of Mahaprabhu. Bahire pataparudra lanya patragana mandala hanya kare loka nivarana. Maharaj Prataparudra and his personal assistants formed a third... Okay. Shubhadra Balaramera Hridaya Ulasa Nirchadeki Dui Janara Shri Mukete Hasa. The goddess of fortune, Shubhadra, and Lord Balaram both felt great happiness and ecstasy within their hearts. Indeed, they were seen smiling and dancing. What will we see with these two holes in our head? Udanda nuche prabhura adbhuta vikara asta sattvika bhava udaya haya samakala. Oh, was it very high? Up here.
Yes.
Over the head.
Not over the head, but like from here up.
When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced and jumped high, 8 wonderful transformations indicative of divine ecstasy were seen in his body. All these symptoms were visible simultaneously. I'll read that again. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced and jumped high, 8 wonderful transformations called Asta. Oh, I thought I was going to be really clever, but now I can't remember. Asta Sattvika Bhava. 8 wonderful transformations indicative of divine ecstasy were seen in his body. All these symptoms were visible simultaneously. Mangsavrana Shamar Roma Vrinda Pulakita Simulira Vriksha Jaina Kantaka Veshtita. His skin erupted with goose pimples and the hairs of his body stood on end. His body resembled the simuli, the silk cotton tree all covered with thorns. Aka eka dantera kampa dekite lagebaya loke jane danta shaba kashya padaya. Indeed, the people became afraid just to see his teeth chatter, and they even thought that his teeth would fall out. So this is one of those astak, and no one can imitate these. The Prakrita Sahajas are trying to imitate something like falling on the ground and salivating, but they can't produce any of these kind of transformations. That's not possible. Sarvange prashveda chutetate roktadgama jaya gaga gadgadavachana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's whole body flowed with perspiration and at the same time oozed blood. He made the sounds Jaja Gaga, and a voice choked with ecstasy. So this all sounds very ghastly, but it's actually, to the purified vision of the heart, these transformations were exceedingly beautiful. Exceedingly, inconceivable. We have to remember that the Lord's body is not this kind of body. This is transcendental. And although this body has blood, it's some nasty substance. Blood! The origin, the transcendental origin, is fully spiritual. Nothing ghastly about it at all. Wondrous, beautiful. Jalayantra dara jaicheva vahe ashrujala ashapashe lokajata bijila sakala. Tears came forcefully from the eyes of the Lord, as if from a syringe, and all the people surrounding him became wet with the wonderful divine tears coming from the Lord, blessing them in ways that nothing has ever happened before like this. Deha kanti gauravarna dekhiye aruna kabukante dekhi jena malika pushpa sama. Everyone saw the complexion of his body change from white to pink, so that his luster resembled that of a malika flower. Kabu stamba kabu prabhu bhumite lotai shushka kashta shamapada hashta nachalai. Sometimes he appeared stunned, and sometimes he rolled on the ground. Indeed, sometimes his legs and hands became as hard as dry wood, and he did not move. Kabu bhume pade kabu svasahaya hina jata deki bhakta ganera pranahaya kshina. When the Lord fell to the ground, sometimes his breathing almost stopped. When the devotees saw that, their lives also became very feeble. Kabu netre nashaya jalamuke pade pena amritera dara chandra bimbe vahejena. Water flowed from his eyes and sometimes through his nostrils, and foam fell from his mouth. These flowings appeared to be torrents of nectar descending from the moon. Se pene lanya shubha nanda kailapana Krishna prema rasika teho mahabhagyavan. The foam that fell from the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was taken and drunk by Shubhananda because he was very fortunate and expert in relishing the mellow of ecstatic love for Krishna. So again, you have to remember, all these things are the not ordinary transcendental nectar, but of the absolutely highest kind. So we must remember these things while we're reading these transformations of divine love. Like torrents of nectar descending from the moon. E mata tanda vanuchakaila katakshana bhava vishesha prabhura praveshila mana. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had performed his devastating dance for some time, his mind entered into a mood of ecstatic love. Dandava nrityachadi swarupera agyadila hridaya janiya swarupa gaite lagila. So we have to remember that all these things are moods of ecstatic love, but there's always another. This is positive and progressive immortality. Even from our point of view, we can begin to understand that. But Mahaprabhu's, it's always increasing nectar. So from one mood of ecstatic love to another. And these are given names, these different kinds of moods, but they are not repetitive like our poor attempt at enjoyment in this world. Chewing the chewed, chewing again what we already chewed before. This is not like that. Tandava nrityachari swarupere agyadila hridaya janiya swarupa gaite lagila. After abandoning the dancing, the Lord ordered Swarup Damodar to sing. Understanding his mind, Swarup Damodar began to sing as follows. So Swarup Damodar understands completely all the moods of the Lord, and his singing is bringing out that mood, enhancing it, serving it. Seta parana natto painu jahalagi modana dahane jurigenu. Now I have gained the Lord of my life, in the absence of whom I was being burned by Cupid and was withering away. And this song refers to Srimati Radharani's meeting with Krishna at the holy place of Kurukshetra, where Lord Sri Krishna and his brother and sister came to visit when there was a solar eclipse. It is a song of separation from Krishna. When Radharani met Krishna at Kurukshetra, she remembered his intimate association in Vrindavan. So the separation is acute. Krishna is in front of me, but Vrindavan is not there. So it is a very acute situation. She thought, now I have gained the Lord of my life. In his absence, I was being burned by the arrow of Cupid, and thus I was withering away. And now I have my life again. So now she's met Krishna again at Kurukshetra after so long, and burned in the fire of transcendental, the original form of Cupid, which is pure devotion. There's nothing selfish in it. Nothing. It's not a desire to enjoy. It is a desire to give. Duya uchai sware gaya damodar anande madura nritya karena ishwar. When this refrain was loudly sung by Swarup Damodar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again began rhythmically dancing in transcendental bliss. Dire dire Jagannatha karena gamana age nritya kari chalena shachira nandana. The car of Lord Jagannath began to move slowly, while the son of the mother Shachi went ahead and danced in front. Jagannathe netra diye shavanache gaya kirtaniya saha prabhu pache pache jaya. While dancing and singing, all the devotees in front of Lord Jagannath kept their eyes on him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then went to the end of the procession with the Sankirtan performers. Jagannathe magna prabhura nayana hridaya Shri hasta yuge kare gitera abhinaya. His eyes and mind fully absorbed in Lord Jagannath, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to play the drama of the song with his two arms. Gora jadi pache chale shama hoya stire, Gora age chale shama chale dire dire. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dramatically enacting the song, he would sometimes fall behind in the procession. At such times, Lord Jagannath would come to a standstill. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again went forward, Lord Jagannath's car would slowly start again. So this song, sung by Mukunda, now Mahaprabhu is fully absorbed in that and enacting that pastime. E mata gora shame donhe te la teli, swarte shame rake gora mahabali. There was a sort of competition between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Jagannath in seeing who would lead. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so strong, he made Lord Jagannath wait in his car. What is that kind of strength of devotion? Nachite nachite prabhura haila bhavantara hastatuli shloka pade kari uchai swara. So, at the end of the last purport, Srila Guru Prabhupada said, those competitive exchanges were all part of the love affair between Krishna and Srimati Radharani. In that competition between Lord Chaitanya's ecstasy for Jagannath and Jagannath's ecstasy for Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emerged successful. So devotion, jita achita. The Lord is conquered by that devotion. He who can never be conquered is conquered. Nachite nachiti prabhura haila bhavantara hastatuli shloka padekari uchai svara. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing, his ecstasy changed. Raising his two arms, he began to recite the following verse in a loud voice. Jakumara harasa eva hi varasta eva chaitra kshapas che te chonmilita malati sorabaya proda kadamba nilaha sachaivang sri tatapi jatra surata vyapara lila vidau reva rodashi vetashi tarutale cheta samutkantate. That very personality who stole away my heart during my youth is now again my master. These are the same moonlit nights of the month of Chaitra. The same fragrance of malati flowers is there, and the same sweet breezes are blowing from the Kadamba forest. In our intimate relationship, I am also the same lover, yet still my mind is not happy here. I am eager to go back to that place on the bank of the Reva, under the Vetasi tree. That is my desire. Jai Mahaprabhu, beautiful Mahaprabhu. Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhanju Ki Jai. E Shloka Mahaprabhu Pade Bara Bara Swarupa Bina Artha Keha Na Jane Ihara. This verse was recited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again and again, but for Swarup Damodar. That means except for Swarup Damodar, no one could understand its meaning. So this is a song, it's a song from an old, Srila Guru Maharaj is explaining, an old, novel. It's a novel. And this is from that old novel where an ordinary woman is talking about her husband. He is still with me here, but I want to go back to when we were young and when we met together by the banks of the Reva. I want to go back to that place. And so this is a song which is not like Guru Maharaj is saying, that is a nasty kind of song. I mean, it's like ordinary, a very mundane kind of feeling. But Mahaprabhu is chanting this not once, many times. Of course, he's the Supreme Lord. He knows all verses everywhere. He knows everything of everything. And that is all for him, ultimately. So he's singing this verse, and only Swarup Damodar knew why he was saying this. But as we heard before, Rupa Goswami knew the meaning. And he expanded that meaning to refer to the pastimes at Kurukshetra, when Srimati Radharani is saying, my master is here. He is still my master. And the same moonlit night of Chitras is there, Chaitra. And the moonlight is there, and the smell of the Kadamba forest. That same breeze is still there. The malati flowers are there, and the Kadamba fragrance is there. But I want to go back to that place on the Reva, under the Vetasi tree. And that is, Mahaprabhu is referring there to Vrindavan. I am seeing you here, and this is very, very nice, so beautiful to see you here. But I want to go back to Vrindavan, to when we were together so long in Vrindavan. In this connection, see Madhya Lila Chapter 1. So this has already been explained. Purve Jarche Kurukshetra Shabagopi Gana Krishnera Darshana Panyanandita Mana. We can keep it on. I'm going to finish this chapter.
Okay.
Formerly, all the gopis of Vrindavan were very pleased when they met with Krishna at the holy place of Kurukshetra. Jagannatha Deki Prabhura E Baba Uttiya Se Baba Vishtahanya Duya Gau Yaila. Similarly, after seeing Lord Jagannath, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu awoke with the ecstasy of the gopis. Being absorbed in this ecstasy, he asked Swarup Damodar to sing the refrain. Avasheshe Radha Krishna Kare Nivedana Se Tumi Se Ami Se Navashangama. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke thus to Lord Jagannath. You are the same Krishna, and I am the same Radharani. We are meeting again in the same way that we met in the beginning of our lives. We are meeting again here in Kurukshetra. And there is Lord Jagannath, the Lord of the universe. This is more the mood of Dwarka, which is Dwarka Krishna, is whom Radharani met at Kurukshetra. But that Krishna also wants to go back to Vrindavan with Radharani. So this is the Rathayatar festival and going to Gundicha, which is Vrindavan. Tatapi amaramana hare Vrindavana Vrindavane udaya karao apana charana. Although we are both the same, my mind is still attracted to Vrindavan Dham. I wish that you will please again appear with your lotus feet in Vrindavan. Iha lokaranya hati gora ratadvani taha pushparanya bringa pikanada shuni. In Kurukshetra there are crowds of people, elephants and horses, and also the rattling of chariots. But in Vrindavan there are flower gardens and the humming of bees, and the chirping of the birds can be heard. Ihara javesha shange shabak chatriya gana taha gopavesha shange murali vadana.
I have a question, Nidhi. How long is it going to take you to finish the chapter?
We are on. I guess we could finish after Prasadam. There's still quite a lot.
What do you choose? Because Prasad is ready.
Yeah. I'm really inclined to finish it, but it is going to be a good half hour still. So at least I'm going to read a little bit longer until I feel like there's a place to stop, because this is in the middle of a very important passage in this passage.
So you decide to continue?
I'm going to continue for a little while longer, and then I can start up again later.
Right.
But I don't want to stop right here, because this is very important for all of us. So is that okay?
Yeah.
But don't stop the thing. So Srimati Radharani is saying, in Kurukshetra there are crowds of people, elephants and horses. So many people assembled there in Kurukshetra for the solar eclipse to perform some sacrifice and so on. And they met there. And there are also the rattling of chariots, but in Vrindavan there are flower gardens, and the humming of the bees and the chirping of the birds can be heard. This is not ordinary bees, not ordinary birds, and not ordinary flower garlands. They are all completely conscious in the service of the Lord. Iha rajavesha shange shabha chatriya gana taha gopavesha shange murali vadana. Here at Kurukshetra you're dressed like a royal prince, accompanied by great warriors. But in Vrindavan you just appear you appear like an ordinary cowherd boy, accompanied only by your beautiful flute. Braje tomara shange je shuka ashvadana, she shuka samudrera ihanahi akakchakana. Here, there's not even a drop of the ocean of transcendental happiness that I enjoyed with you in Vrindavan. Not even a drop. Amalanya Puna Lila Karaha Vrindavane Tabe Amara Manovanchahayata Purane. I therefore request you to come to Vrindavan and enjoy pastimes with me. If you do so, my ambition will be fulfilled. Bhagavate Ache Jaicharadika Vachana Purvetaha Shutramaje Karyachi Varnana. I've already described in brief Srimati Radharani's statement from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Se Baba Vesha Prabhupadayara Shloka She Shava Shlokera Artanahi Bhuje Loka. In that ecstatic mood, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited many other verses, but people in general could not understand their meaning. Many other verses about this deep reality of this festival. But mostly people didn't know what Mahaprabhu was referring to. Swarupa Gosai Jani Nakahe Artatara Sri Rupa Gosai Kaila Se Arta Prachara. The meaning of those verses was known to Swarup Damodar Goswami, but he did not reveal it. However, Sri Rupa Goswami has broadcast the meaning. Swarupa Sange Jara Arta Kare Asvadana Nityamaje She Shloka Karena Patana. While dancing, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to recite the following verse, which he tasted in the association of Swarup Damodar Goswami. Not just physical association. Swarup Damodar Goswami was the only one who could share in the meaning of that shloka, in that mood and everything. Ahushcha te nalina naba padara vindam yogeshwara hridi vichincha magada bodai samsara kupa patito taranavalam ketang jusamapi manasuditat sadanaha. The gopi spoke thus, My dear Lord, whose navel is just like a lotus flower, your lotus feet are the only shelter for those who have fallen into the deep well of material existence. Your feet are worshipped and meditated upon by great mystic yogis and highly learned philosophers. We wish that these lotus feet may also be awakened within our hearts, although we are only ordinary persons engaged in household affairs. All these great personalities are worshiping you. You are the shelter, the only shelter of the conditioned soul. And those lotus feet may awaken in our hearts, although we are just very ordinary persons. The Sri Chaitanya began to explain his own mind, which was saturated in the ecstasy of the gopis. Anyera hridaya manamora mana vrindavan manevane akakari jana tahatomara padadvaya karaha jadi udaya Tave Tomara Purna Kripamani. Speaking in the mood of Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, For most people, the mind and heart are one. But because my mind is never separated from Vrindavan, I consider my mind and Vrindavan to be one. My mind is already Vrindavan, and since you are like Vrindavan, will you please place your lotus feet there? I would deem that your full mercy. Would you please put your lotus feet in Vrindavan? Return to Vrindavan. My mind is Vrindavan. So you please return to my mind, to our divine relationship in Vrindavan. Prananata Shunamora Satya Nivedana Braja Amara Sadhana Tahatamara Sangama Nahi Paile Narahe Jivana. My dear Lord, kindly hear my true submission. My home is Vrindavan, and I wish your association there. But if I do not get it, then it will be very difficult for me to keep my life. Purve udavadware akashaksharamare yoga jnane kahila upai tumi vidagda kripamoy janaha amar hridoy more aiche kahite na jujaya. My dear Krishna, formerly, when you were staying at Mathura, you sent Uddhava to teach me speculative knowledge and mystic yoga. So he sent Uddhava, telling them, you should just meditate, try to overcome material, all these kinds of instructions to give them some way to feel less pain in his separation. So here, the gopis are chastising Krishna for this letter carried by Uddhava. My dear Krishna, formerly when you were staying in Mathura, you sent Uddhava to teach me speculative knowledge and mystic yoga. Now you yourself are speaking the same thing, but my mind does not accept it. There is no place in my mind for jnana yoga or dhyana yoga. Although you know me very well, you are still instructing me in jnana yoga and dhyana yoga. It is not right for you to do so. I don't want to become a yogi and find peace. Chittakadu tomahaite bishaya chahi lagaite jatnakari nahi kadi bare tare dhyana shiksha karaha loka hashanya mora stana stana nakara vichare. So this is a very loving exchange. Like Krishna sometimes behaves in this way. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, I would like to withdraw my consciousness. I don't want to meditate on you. I want to forget you. Don't tell me to meditate on you. I can't stop meditating on you. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, I would like to withdraw my consciousness from you and engage in material activities. But though I try, I cannot do so. I would get some relief if I could just forget you. I am naturally inclined to you only. Your instructions for me to meditate on you are therefore simply ludicrous. In this way you are killing me. It is not very good for you to think of me as a candidate for your instructions. You know, manmana bhava mad bhakto. So even if a pure devotee wants to forget Krishna, there is no way that he can do that. So these are, of course, transcendental feelings. Nahe gopi yogeshwara para kamala tomara dhyanya kari pai be shantosh tomara vakya paripati tara majje kutinati shuni gopira aropa de rosh. The gopis are not like the mystic yogis. They will never be satisfied simply by meditating on your lotus feet and imitating the so-called yogis. Teaching the yogis about meditation is another kind of duplicity. When they are instructed to undergo mystic yoga practice, they are not at all satisfied. On the contrary, they become more and more angry with you. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati has stated, Kaivalyam narakayate tridashapur akasha pushpayate durdan tendriya kala sarpa patali proktkata dangstrayate. Vishwam Purna Sukayate Vidhi Mahendra Discha Kitayate Yat Karunya Kataksha Vaibhava Vatam Tam Goram Me Vastumaha. For a pure devotee who has realized Krishna consciousness through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the monistic philosophy by which one becomes one with the Supreme appears hellish. The mystic yoga practice by which the mind is controlled and the senses are subjugated also appears ludicrous to a pure devotee. The devotee's mind and senses are already engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. In this way, the poisonous effects of sensory activity are removed. The senses are there. They're not trying to kill the senses, but the poisonous effects are gone. If one's mind is always engaged in the service of the Lord, there is no possibility that one will think, feel, or act materially. Similarly, the fruitive worker's attempt to attain to the heavenly planets is nothing more than a phantasmagoria for the devotee. It's like, what are they doing? That's just like illusion. They're working so hard for an illusory result. After all, the heavenly planets are material, and in due course of time they will be dissolved. Devotees do not care for such temporary things. They engage in the transcendental devotional activities because they desire elevation to the spiritual world, where they can live eternally and peacefully and with full knowledge of Krishna. In Vrindavan, the gopis, cowherd boys, and even the calves, cows, and trees and water are fully conscious of Krishna. They are never satisfied with anything but Krishna. Deha smriti nahi jar samsara kupa kahatar tahaite na chahe udar viraha samudra jale kama timigile gile gopi gane neha tarapar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, the gopis have fallen into the great ocean of separation and are being devoured by the timingila fish of their ambition to serve you. The gopis are to be delivered from the mouths of these timingila fish, for they are pure devotees. Since they have no material conception of life, why should they aspire for liberation? The gopis do not want that liberation desired by yogis and jnanis, for they are already liberated from the ocean of material existence. Vrindavana Govardhana Jamuna Puline Vana Se Kunje Rasadika Lila Se Brajere Vajata Janna Mata Pita Bandhugana Pada Chitra Kemane Pasharila. It is amazing that you have forgotten the land of Vrindavan. And how is it that you have forgotten your father, mother, and friends? How have you forgotten Govardhan Hill, the bank of the Jamuna, and the forest where you enjoyed the Rasa Lila dance? Because Mahaprabhu was continuing to sing all of these shlokas. How did you forget us? Vidagda mridu sadguna, shushila snigda karuna, tumi tumara nahi dosha bhasha. Tabi je tumara mana nahi smare braja jana, se amara durdaiva bilasa. Krishna, you are certainly a refined gentleman with all good qualities. You are well behaved, soft-hearted, and merciful. I know that there is not even a tinge of fault to be found in you. Yet your mind does not even remember the inhabitants of Vrindavan. This is only my misfortune and nothing else. This is my own misfortune. It cannot be due to your wrong behavior or wrong quality. This is only my misfortune. Nagani apana dukkha deki brajeshwara mukha braja janera hridaya vidare kiba mara brajabasi kiba gyao brajayasi kena jao dukkha sahai bare. I do not care for my personal unhappiness, but when I see the morose face of Mother Yashoda and the hearts of all the inhabitants of Vrindavan breaking because of you, I wonder whether you want to kill them all, or do you want to enliven them by coming there? Why are you simply keeping them alive in a state of suffering? Tomaraje Anya. So she's blaming Krishna now, in the case of the others. Are you trying to kill them? Why don't you go there and be with them? Why have you forgotten them? Tomaraje Anya Besha, Anya Shanga, Anya Desha, Brajajane Kabu Nahi Bai. Brajabhumi Chadite Nare, Tomana de Kile Mare, Brajajanera Ki Habe Upai. The inhabitants of Vrindavan do not want you dressed like a prince, nor do they want you associated with great warriors in a different country. They cannot leave the land of Vrindavan, so they cannot come and be with you. And without your presence, they're all dying. What is their condition to be? To me, Brajera Jivana, Brajara Pranadana, to me, Brajera Shakala Sampad, Kripardao Tomara Mana, Ashi Jao, Brajajana, Braje Udaya Karo Nijapada. My dear Krishna, you are the life and soul of Vrindavan Dham, and you are especially the life of Nanda Maharaj. You are the only opulence in the land of Vrindavan, and you are very merciful. Please come and let the residents of Vrindavan live. Kindly keep your lotus feet again in Vrindavan. Shunya Radhika Bane, Braja Prema Mane Ane, Bhave Vyakulita Dehamana, Prajalokera Prema Shuni, Apanake Rinimani, Kare Krishna Tare Asvasana. After hearing Srimati Radharani's statements, Lord Krishna's love for the inhabitants of Vrindavan was evoked, and his body and mind became very perturbed. After hearing of their love for him, he immediately thought himself to be always indebted to the residents of Vrindavan. Then Krishna began to pacify Srimati Radharani as follows. Prana Priyeshu Namora E Sacha Vachana Toma Shabara Smarane Judo Muni Ratre Dine Mora Dukhana Jane Kona Jana. My dear Srimati Radharani, please hear me. I am speaking the truth. I cry day and night simply upon remembering all of you inhabitants of Vrindavan. No one knows. Oh, how unhappy this makes me. Brajabasi Jata Jana Mata Pita Shakagana Chape Hai Mora Prana Sama Taramaje Gopigana Saksha Damora Jivana Tumi Mora Jivanera Jivan. Shri Krishna continued, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan Dham, my mother, father, cowherd boyfriends, and everything else, are like my life and soul. And among all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the gopis are my very life and soul. And among the gopis, you, Srimati Radharani, are the chief. Therefore, you are the very life of my life. Toma sabara prema rase ama ke karira base ami tomara adina kevala. Toma shaba chadanya amatura deshalanya rakiache dudaiva pravala. My dear Srimati Radharani, I am always subservient to the loving affairs of all of you. I am under your control only. My separation from you and residence in distant places have occurred due to my strong misfortune. This is Krishna's feeling. He's expressing. I'm only separated you because this is my misfortune. Priya Priya Shangahina Priya Priya Shangabina Nahi Jiye E Satya Praman Mora Dasha Shone Jabe Tara E Dasha Habe E Baya Duhe Rake Pran. When a woman is separated from the man she loves, or a man is separated from his beloved woman, neither of them can live. It is a fact that they only live for each other, and if one dies and the other hears of it, he or she will also die. Se sati premavati premavan se pati viyoge jevanche priyahite nagane apana dukkha vanche priyajana shuka se dui mile achirate. Such a loving chaste wife and loving husband desire all welfare for each other in separation and do not care for personal happiness. Desiring only each other's well-being, such a pair certainly meet again without delay. Krishna is saying, I am also feeling that great sadness, separation. Rakite tomara jivan sevyami narayana tara saktye ashiniti niti Tomara shani kriddakari niti jai jadupuri tahatumi manahamoras puri. You are my most dear, and I know that in my absence you cannot live for a moment. Just to keep you living, I worship Lord Narayan. By his merciful potency, I come to Vrindavan every day to enjoy pastimes with you. I then return to Dwarkadam. Thus you can always feel my presence there in Vrindavan. This is what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. I come to dispel their unhappiness. And he's saying, I come. You are always remembering me. That is because I'm always there. And you should be assured of this. Believe it. I am always coming. Morabhagya mobishaye tomarajena premahaye se prema parama prabala lukanya ama ane shangakaraya tomasane prakateha anibe satvara. Our love affair is more powerful because of my good fortune in receiving Lord Narayan's grace. This allows me to come there unseen by others. I hope that very soon I will be visible to everyone. So as we heard before in the explanations of Mahaprabhu, that the Lord has two kinds of, and she, of course Krishnadas Kaviraj describing that the Lord has the prakata and aprakata, manifest and unmanifest. Sometimes the Lord is present sometimes the Lord is present when he is somewhere else, and sometimes he is personally present. So this is I think that's Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santasa Deva Hridesha Vilokayanti Yang Shama Sundarama Chincha Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So those whose Premanjana means the ointment of love on their eyes, they can perceive the Lord. And they can perceive him whether he is present or personally present, or when he is not personally present. Both are manifestations. Jadavera vipaksha jatadushta kamsha paksha Taha ami kailu shabakshai Achedui charijana Taha mari brindavana Ailama ami jahi janiha nishchai. I've already killed all the mischievous demons who are enemies of the Yadu dynasty, and I have also killed Kamsa and his allies. There are 2 or 4 demons still living. I want to kill them, and after doing so I shall very soon return to Vrindavan. Please know this for certain. My misfortune, I have these things to do. Se shatrugana haite brajajana rakite rahi rajye udashina hanya shabastri putra dane kari raja avarane jadu ganera shanto shalagiya. I wish to protect the inhabitants of Vrindavan from the attacks of my enemies. That is why I remain in my kingdom. It is for Vrindavan that I am doing this. I cannot tolerate that they will continually come and disturb the atmosphere of Vrindavan. So I've come to my other kingdom and I am protecting. Otherwise, I'm indifferent to my royal position. Whatever wives, sons, and wealth I maintain in the kingdom are only for the satisfaction of the Yadus. They are also my devotees. And they're devotees of Krishna, and Krishna always is reciprocating with all kinds of devotees. But my heart is in Vrindavan. That is the place of the ultimate service of the Lord, the ultimate highest devotion. Tomara je prema guna karyama akarshana anibeyama dina dosha bishe puna ashi vrindavane brajavadu tomashane bila shiva rajani divase. Your loving qualities always attract me to Vrindavan. Indeed, they will bring me back within 10 or 20 days. And when I return, I shall enjoy both day and night with you and all the damsels of Brajabhumi. So just as Krishna is the highest fulfillment for every living being, so the devotees, Krishna is himself fully with the Braja Gopis, and of course Mahabhista Rupa Radha Hridaya Mandire, my highest form, my highest self, my true full self is manifested in the heart, the temple of the heart of Radharani. Atatari Kaye Krishna Raji Jaite Sha Trishna Akashloka Padishunaila She Shloka Shunirata Kandila Shakala Bada Krishna Praptye Pratiti Haila. While speaking to Srimati Radharani, Krishna became very anxious to return to Vrindavan. He made her listen to a verse which banished all of her difficulties and which assured her that she would again attain Krishna. Mai bhaktir hi bhutanam amritatvaya kalpate Trishthatana shinmat sneho bhavatinam madapanaha. Lord Shri Krishna said, devotional service unto me is the only way to attain me. My dear gopis, whatever love and affection you have attained for me, by good fortune is the only reason for my returning to you. I know, Krishna is saying, I know who you are. We are very intimate and I must return to you. This is natural. Eshava ate prabhu swarupera sane, rache dine gare bashi kare asvadane. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sit in his room with Swarup Damodar and taste the topics of these verses day and night. Nityakali se bhave avishta hanya Shloka Padinacha Jagannatha Mukha Chanya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced completely absorbed in ecstatic emotion. While looking at the face of Lord Jagannath, he danced and recited these verses. Swarupas Gosanyira Bhagyana Jaya Varnana Prabhute Avishta Janakaya Vakyamana. No one can describe the good fortune of Swarup Damodar Goswami, for he is always absorbed in the service of the Lord with his body, mind, and words. And what is that service? Inconceivable to us. Swarupera Indriya Prabhura Nijendriya Gana Avistahanya Gare Gana Asvadana. The senses of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are identical with the senses of Swarup. Therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to become fully absorbed in tasting the singing of Swarup Damodar, fully. That was no different from the very heart and mind of Mahaprabhu. Bhavera aveshe kabu bhumite bashiya tarjanite bhume ilike adomukahanya. In emotional ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sometimes sit on the ground, and looking down, he would write on the ground with his finger. Angulite kshattahabe jani damodar payani jakare nivaraye prabhukar. Fearing that the Lord would injure his finger by writing in this way, Swarup Damodar checked him with his own hand. Prabhura bhavanurupa swarupera gana tabe jera sataha kare murtiman. Swarup Damodar used to sing exactly according to the ecstatic emotion of the Lord. Whenever a particular mellow was being tasted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swarup Damodar would personify it by singing Shri Jagannath Tera Deke Shri Mukha Kamala Tahara Upara Sundara Nayana Jugala. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked upon the beautiful lotus-like face and eyes of Lord Jagannath. Suryera Kirane Mukhakare Jalamala Malya Vastra Divya Alankara Parimala. Lord Jagannath was garlanded, dressed with nice garments and adorned with beautiful ornaments. His face was glittering from the rays of sunshine, and the entire atmosphere was fragrant. Prabhura Hridaya Ananda Sindhu Utalila Unmara Jangjavata Takshane Utila. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. An ocean of transcendental bliss expanded in the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and symptoms of madness immediately intensified like a hurricane. Anandon Made Utaya Bhavera Taranga Nanabhava Sainye Upajila Judaranga. The madness of transcendental bliss created waves of various emotions. The emotions appeared like opposing soldiers staging a fight. Bhavodaya Bhava Shanti Sandhi Shubhalya Sanchari Satvika Stai Svabhava Prabhalya. There was an increase in all the natural emotional symptoms. Thus there were awakening emotions, peacefulness, joined, mixed, transcendental, and prevalent emotions, and impetuses for emotions. Prapura Sharira Jaina Shuddha Hema Chala Bhava Pushpa Druma Tahe Pushpita Shakala. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body appeared like a transcendental Himalayan mountain, bearing ecstatic, emotional flower trees, all of them blooming. How beautiful is that? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body appeared like a transcendental Himalayan mountain, bearing ecstatic, emotional flower trees, all of them blooming. Dekite akshar shashe Shabara Chittamana Premamrita Vrishche Prabhu Shinche Shabaramana. The sight of all these symptoms attracted everyone's mind and consciousness. Indeed, the Lord sprinkled everyone's mind with the nectar of transcendental love of Godhead. The sight of all these symptoms attracted everyone's mind and consciousness. Indeed, the Lord sprinkled everyone's mind with the nectar of transcendental love of Godhead. Jagannatha Seva Kajataraja Patragana Jatrikaloka Nila Chalavashe Jata Jana. He sprinkled the minds of the servants of Lord Jagannath, the government officers, the pilgrim visitors, the general populace, and all the residents of Jagannath Puri. Prabhura Nucha Prema Deki Hai Chamatkara Krishna prema ucha lila hridaye shabara. Upon seeing the dancing and ecstatic love of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone became chamatkar, astonished. In their hearts they became infatuated with love of Krishna. Preme nache gaya loka kare kolahala, prabhura nritya deki shabe anande vivala. Everyone danced and chanted in ecstatic love, and a great noise resounded. Everyone was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss just to see the dancing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Avyara kikaya jagannatha haladara, prabhura nritya deki shuke chalila mantara. Apart from the others, even Lord Jagannath and Lord Balaram, with great happiness, began to move very slowly upon seeing the dancing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even they were entranced by this dancing. Kabushuke nritya deke rataraki, se kautuba de ye dekila se tara shakshi. Lord Jagannath and Lord Balaram sometimes stopped the car and happily observed Lord Chaitanya's dancing. Anyone who was able to see them stop and watch the dancing bore witness to their pastimes. E mata prabhu nritya karite brahmite, prataparudrera age lagila padite. When Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing and wandering in this way, he fell down in front of Maharaj Prataparudra. Sambrame Prataparudra Prabhu ke darila, taha ke dekite Prabhu bahya jnana haila. Maharaj Prataparudra picked up the Lord with great respect, but upon seeing the king, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to his external senses. Raja deki Mahaprabhu karena dikara chi chi vishayi ira sparshahaila mara. After seeing the king, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu condemned himself, saying, "Oh, how pitiful it is! I have been touched by a person who is interested in mundane affairs." Now this sounds extremely cruel, because Mahaprabhu is fully aware that the king is a pure devotee. And the king, he fell down before the king. And naturally the king would pick him up. And this is all internally being experienced by both the king and Mahaprabhu. But externally the Lord is giving warning. Oh no, I've been touched by a materialistic person. But this is an external thing. Internally, all these things are being done in very great ecstasy. Ave shete nityanandana haila savadane kashishwara govinda achila anyastane. Not even Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Kashishwar or Govinda, took care of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he fell down. Nityananda was in great ecstasy, and Kashishwar and Govinda were elsewhere. Jajapi rajara deki hadira sevana, prasana hanache tare medibare mana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had already been satisfied by the king's behavior, for the king had accepted the service of a sweeper for Lord Jagannath. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually desired to see the king. This is a very beautiful theme in the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. Tatapi apanagane karite savadana pahye kichuro sabasha kaila bhagavan. However, just to warn his personal associates, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and of course coming in the form also of Guru, Mahaprabhu is giving so much instruction. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu externally expressed feelings of anger. Prabhura vachane rajaramane hailabhaya sarvabhoma kahe tumi nak kara sangsaya King Prataparudra became frightened when Lord Chaitanya showed external anger, but Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told the king, "Don't worry." These are things, naturally in his humility he's thinking, oh, I've done a very wrong thing here. But Sarvabhauma said, no. Tomara upare prabhura supashanamana Toma lakshakari shikayena nichagana. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya informed the king, the Lord is very satisfied with you. By pointing you out, he was simply teaching his personal associates how to behave with mundane people, not to intimately associate with them. Certainly not to become enamored by any mundane quality. But is that word, Haridev?
Which one?
That word is nindadi shunya, Hriday.
Yeah,
Hriday.
Sunya.
Yeah, he doesn't have the inclination to praise or to become involved in criticizing the ordinary qualities of others. He's not interested in that. Avasara janiyami kariba nivedana se kali jai kariha prabhura milana. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya continued, I shall submit your petition when there is an opportune moment. It will be very easy for you to come and meet the Lord. Sarvabhauma is saying this with complete confidence because he knows the heart of the Lord. He's saying this is just a matter of opportunity. Tabe Mahaprabhu Rata Padakshina Kariya Ratapache Jai Tele Rate Matadiya. After circumambulating Jagannath, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went behind the car and began pushing it with his head. Teli te chalila rata hadahata kari chaturdike loka shababale hari hari. As soon as he pushed, the car immediately started to move, making a rattling noise. All the people around began to chant the holy name of the Lord, Hari Hari. Tabe Prabhu Nija Bhaktagana Lanya Shange Baladeva Subhadragre Richakare Range. As the car began to move, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his personal associates in front of the cars occupied by Lord Balaram and Subhadra, the goddess of fortune. Greatly inspired, he then began to dance in front of them. Taha kari Jagannatha age aila, Jagannatha deki nritya kari te lagila. After finishing the dance before Lord Baladev and Subhadra, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came before Lord Jagannath's car. Upon seeing Lord Jagannath, he began to dance again. Chaliya aila rata balagandi stane, Jagannatha rata deki raki deki dahine bame. When they reached the place called Balagandi, Lord Jagannath stopped his car and began to look left and right. Bame viprasashana narikela vana, dahinena pushpo dhyana jena brindavana. On the left side, Lord Jagannath saw a neighborhood of Brahmins and a coconut tree grove. On the right side, he saw nice flower gardens resembling those in the holy places of Vrindavan. Such a pretty description. Age nichakari gola lanya bhaktagana rata raki jagannatha karena darashana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his devotees were dancing in front of the car, and Lord Jagannath, having stopped the car, watched the dancing. Seis dale boga lage achaye niyama koti boga jagannatha kare asvadana. It was customary that food be offered to the Lord at the Viprashashana, which means the little village of Brahmins. Indeed, innumerable dishes of food were offered, and Lord Jagannath tasted each and every one of them. Jagannatera chota bada jata bhakta gana, nija nija uttama bhoga kare samarpana. All kinds of devotees of Lord Jagannath, from neophytes to the most advanced, offered their best cooked food for the Lord. So at this point, whatever one cooked at home for the Lord, that could be brought and offered to him. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Can you believe it? We could make some sweets at home and bring them and really actually offer them to the Lord. Raja Raja Mahishi Vrindavapatra Mitra Gana Nila Chalabashi Jata Chota Badajana. These devotees included the king, his queens, his ministers and friends, and all other big and small residents of Jagannath Puri. Nana Deshera Deshi Jata Jatuka Jana Nija Nija Bogataha Kare Samarpana. All the visitors who had come from different countries to Jagannath Puri, as well as the local devotees, offered their personally cooked food to the Lord. Age pache dui parsve pushpo janavane jejata jejaha praya lagaya nahika niyame. The devotees offered their food everywhere. Wherever they were offering their food. In front of the car, behind it, on the two sides, within the flower garden. Wherever possible, they made their offering to the Lord, for there were no hard and fast rules. Bogera samaya lokera mahabida haila nichachari mahaprabhu avavanegela upavanegela. While the food was being offered, a large crowd of people gathered, and at that time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stopped his dancing and went to a nearby garden. Prema Veshe Mahaprabhu Upavana Panya Pushpa Ujjane Griha Pindaya Rahila Padiya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the garden and, immersed in great ecstatic emotion, fell flat on a raised platform there. Nityapari Shrame Prabhurad Dehegana Garma Shugandhi Shittalabayu Karena Sevana. The Lord was very much fatigued from the hard labor of dancing, and there was perspiration all over his body. He therefore enjoyed the fragrant, cool breeze of the garden. Jata Bhakta Kirtaniya Shya Arame Prativrikshatale Shabe Karena Bishrame. All the devotees who had been performing Sankirtan came there and took rest under each and every tree. Eta Kahila Prabhura Mahasankirtana Jagannatera Age Jaiche Karila Nartana. Thus I have described the great performance of congregational chanting by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as he danced in front of Lord Jagannath. Rata Grete Prabhu Jaite Karila Nartana Chaitanyasta Ke Rupa Gosai Karya Che Varnana. In his prayer known as the Chaitanyastaka, Sri Rupa Goswami has given a vivid description of the Lord's dancing before the cart of Jagannath. Ratra Ruda Shrayadati Padavi Nila Chalapater Adabra Premor Mi Spurita Natano Lasa Vivasha Nahashim Gayabdipa Pra Parivrita Tanur Vaishnava Janai Shri Chaitanya Kimme Punarapi Drisho Yasyati Padam. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced down the main road in great ecstasy before Lord Jagannath, the master of Nilachal, who was sitting on his cart. Overwhelmed by the transcendental bliss of dancing and surrounded by Vaishnavas who sang the holy names, he manifested waves of ecstatic love of Godhead. When will Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again be visible to my vision? What happened?
the phone died and I just came to...
Oh, the phone died?
Yeah, everything is fine. Don't you worry, please.
Okay. Iha Jeshu Nise Shri Chaitanya Pai Sudridha Vishvasa Saha Prema Bhakti Vai. Anyone who hears this description of the car festival will attain Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He will also attain the elevated state by which he will have firm conviction in devotional service and love of Godhead. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Jara Asha Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Dasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 13th chapter, describing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic dancing at Lord Jagannath's car festival. Please forgive my offenses in reading this beautiful passage, but we're reading with the hope of devotional service one day, and the removal of all the things which are now clouding our vision and clouding our, the obstacles to our progress. So this is our fervent prayer that we will not be left behind, but Lord Jagannath will be very merciful to us by the grace of Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and all of our Rupanuga Guru Varga. Ki Jai.
Jai.
Haribol. Now, 11:45. Is it really? Is it 11:45?
Yeah.
What? Oh, wow, that went almost 2 hours over.
Almost 3 hours.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Are you busy, Prabhu? Can you give me the drum?
He's taking prasad.
Oh, it's okay.
Don't you worry.
Not necessary. But you'll have to wash your hands and mouth.
Oh man.
Your enthusiasm made you forget. Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai, Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj ki Jai, Srila Om Vishnupad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai, 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 Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, sir.
Dandavat.
Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Govinda Gosai Gori Charana Vandana Yaha Hoite Vignana Shavisa Purana Jai Gosai Jaramu Vijaradasa Dasavara Padirenu Mura Vanchagrasa Adiracharana Seviva Dasanivasa Janame Janame Murai Avilasa Jai Gosai Jave Vraje Koilavasa Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Gorila Prakasa Anande Volo Hari Vaja Vrindavana Shri Guru Vaishnava Parama Jai Jamana Shri Guru Vaishnava Parapama Goriyasa Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naroda Madasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jai, the dancing of the Lord in front of the Rathayatar ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhanju ki
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Rakak Shri Dardev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Madhacharya Vrinda ki Jai.
Jai.
Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai.
Jai.
All the devotees of Mahaprabhu ki Jai.
Jai.
All the devotees of Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai.
Jai.
Sadgoswami Prabhu ki
Ki
Jai.
Jai.
Jai Shri Baladev Subhadra Jagannath ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Shri Purushottam Chaitra ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai.
Jai.
Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Shri Govardhan Hill ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat ki Jai.
Jai.
Vishaka Mat ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mission ki Jai.
Jai.
Srimati Tulsi Devi ki Jai.
Jai.
Kol Kartal ki Jai.
Jai.
Nam Sankirtan ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Panchatattva Prabhu ki Jai.
Jai.
Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala ki Jai.
Jai.
Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda ki Jai.
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Pranandi.
Haribo, Srimati Shri Lekha Vilasi ki.
Sab ki Jai. Jai Shri Gurudev ki Jai.
Srimati Didi, Happy Jagannath Rathayatar. Divya Shakti Didi says Dandavat. Ganga Lila Didi says Dandavat. Durga Rasa Didi says Dandavat. Kumkum Didi says Jai, Jai, Jagannath, Subhadra, Baladev, my Dandavat to all the devotees.
Jai.
Nima Krishna Prabhu says Dandavat offering a flower. And then Shema Malini Didi says Dandavat your devotees. And then again Kalki chanting the Mahamantra with a keyword. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Times infinity, Kalki says. And he's asking, or she, so there will be another class tonight at 6:30 p.m. Salt City time. Please.
Yes, see you then.
Okay, see you there.
Oh, glory to you, all wonderful. Vaishnavas, the Vaishnava's heart is the light of the world.